League this season. We're off to Palace against Brighton next. You're listening to Premier League Live.
As darkness sweeps around the globe at 8 p.m. on the 18th of November, 25,000 people worldwide will pull their running shoes on to hit the road for a virtual 5 or 10k at Run in the Dark. I'm Mark Pollock, and by joining us to Run in the Dark this November, you'll be supporting the Mark Pollock Trust and our charity partner Collaborative Cures, whose mission it is to cure paralysis in our lifetime. Register now at runinthedark.org and get your medal, your flashing armband, and your Run in the Dark virtual timing app. Thank you.
Let's talk about you looking after your business. Ford, looking after your vehicle. Let's talk hassle-free Ford leasing. Just a fixed monthly payment, no motor tax to deal with, and no maintenance or servicing to pay on selected plans. Get the Ford Transit Custom from €290 per month. Hassle-free Ford lease. Now we're talking. Search Ford Lease or text Ford to 50015 to speak to us about leasing your next vehicle.
Text cost to standard rate. Price quoted for Transit Custom base with no maintenance over 4 years with 3 monthly rentals in advance. 20,000 kilometres per annum. Business users only. Price excludes VAT. Ford Lease is provided by Merriam Fleet Management, trading as Ford Lease.
Create the Premier League atmosphere at home with Harvey Norman, the home of the big screen. Feel like you're on the pitch with our stunning range of 4K smart LED and OLED TVs from LG, starting from just $449. Plus, hear every kick, save, tackle, decision with LG's best-in-class soundbars. Get TV ready for all the big games with Harvey Norman. Shop online today or safely in our spacious stores. Harvey Norman, home of the big screen.
Go! This is not the time for business as usual. It's time for effort and imagination. It's time to use technology to start your online plans. It's time to work from home to stay in touch. It's time to look to each other. Erscoa Cahill. Ireland is working online with help from Black Knight and .ie, because now we need better than business as usual. Call Black Knight on 059 918 3027 or visit blackknight.ie.
Grant has been providing reliable, efficient and affordable home heating technology for over 40 years. From the award-winning Grant Vortex condensing oil boiler to the highly efficient Arona heat pump, you can trust Grant to heat your home. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.eu.
Introducing Guardson Sport. Protect your sporting equipment from COVID-19 for up to 14 days with Guardson Sport Disinfectant Treatment. Ideal in team sport settings with the sharing of balls, rackets, gloves, helmets and all other sporting equipment. Guardson Sport kills COVID-19 on impact, keeping surfaces free from COVID-19 and other viruses and bacteria for up to 14 days by creating a protective polymer layer on application. For more information on Guardson Sport and other quality assured, certified and approved PPE, visit yourcovidprotection.com.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Crystal Palace against Brighton from Selhurst Park. I'm your host, Andrew Self. Alongside me is a former Crystal Palace, Aston Villa and Charlton winger, Paul Mortimer. This is Premier League Live. The two sides are out and already underway here in this M23 derby. Crystal Palace in their familiar red and blue striped shirts, blue shorts and blue socks. Brighton in their slightly unfamiliar yellow shirts, white shorts and yellow socks. I'll run through the two sides very, very quickly for you. In goal for Crystal Palace, Vincente Guaita. Then a back four of Tyrick Mitchell, Gary Cahill, Chet Kouyate and Joel Ward. That's going from left to right. A midfield of Jeffrey Schlupp, James McArthur, Yaro Riedewald and Andros Townsend, with Wilfried Zaha and Michi Batshuayi up top for the Eagles. For the Seagulls, Matt Ryan in goal. A back three, going from right to left of Ben White, Lewis Duncan, Aaron Webster. Then it's five across the middle of the park. Well, I should say four. Tariq Lamptey, Yves Bissouma, Solly March and Dan Byrne. Adam Lallana and Leandro Trossard are just in behind Neil Maupay at the top of the park. And Brighton driving forward there with Lallana. Lallana gets a shot off, but it's well wide. And that gives me time to bring in that wonderful man called Paul Mortimer. What exactly are you looking for today?
Afternoon, everyone, evening, everyone, whichever part of the day you're watching in. It's going to depend on the mindset of both sides. Are they going to look to go and win the game? You know, because both are capable of it. Both have got match winners. Neil Maupay will score goals. You've got Zaha, who I think is a match winner on his day. If they shine, if they get time and space to shine, we're hoping this could be a game full of goals.
And that would absolutely, although these are two worst in the calendar year, Premier League sides in the calendar year. I'm not sure if you knew that, but let's hope that they can break that hoodoo. On the far side, Maupay sees the ball go out of play. We're watching the game very much as you would see any pictures you would see on your television, so remember that in your mind's eye. Technical dugouts on the far side, Roy Hodgson on the left as we face, and on the right it is Graham Potter, the quiet man of English management, one would say. Bissouma gets the ball down and plays it out. Big cacophony of sound because nobody really knows who got the ball out of play, but it went the way of Brighton, and in the end a long ball forward from the defence of Crystal Palace. Sees a header away by Adam Webster, and Zaha tries to get on the football. Schlupp gets it back. Just play football on the halfway line, Crystal Palace. Interesting thing, I was looking through the stats just as this game settles down, Paul, and they've sort of abandoned their passing game and gone a little bit more longer, and they've got a better start to the season.
Well, I think what's happened is I look at Roy Hodgson, he's taken the handbrake off. Last season, I think they played survival football, not to get beat. What they're playing now is a form of football that's going to go and win games. They're going to go and attack. I've seen them a couple of times this season, and I was really pleased with the fact that right from the start, they're going. I saw them lose to Everton at home, but they were brilliant. They went forward, they looked to attack, they looked to exploit gaps, whereas, previously they sat behind the ball. And, the last time I saw them, last season, Wolf Zaha was literally playing left back. And that's not happening anymore. He's up front, they're looking to go and win games, which is brilliant.
There we are, and we're talking about Graham Potter, who's changed it from long ball under Chris Hughton of Brighton to passing football, but they seem to be unlucky. So we've got the makings of a decent game. Ball in the middle of the park here with Leandro Trossard for Brighton. Plays it down this near side. Dan Byrne finds March. Back to Byrne, just inside his own half. He turns it infield to Dunk. Dunk's about 4 yards shy of the centre circle on the Brighton side. Short pass in the middle of the pass from White to Bissouma. Played up to March out on this near side. And the ball goes back again, once again in the middle of the park. It is Bissouma just going square, looking for a run on the far side, throwing his arm out in anger. And now it's going to be played down the line by Webster. Turned round the corner again. Tariq Lamptey, who plays a long way forward, defensive-sided wing-back, one would say. But these two sides, Paul, they you said the handbrake's off for Roy Hodgson. Maybe that's just early season. If it all goes a little bit Pete Tong, he might turn around and put the handbrake back on and do survival football. But let's enjoy it while we can, really.
Well, we yes, and I think it's hugely important this time of the season. I look at Brighton, I know you say they're trying to pass the ball about, but for me, the thing about passing and moving is there has to be constant changes in movement. There's got to be constant different pictures that players can see, constant options. And you notice that there isn't, if truth be told. They're passing it and then it kind of gets to a certain point and then stops because there isn't enough movement. Now, I don't wonder what the ref's given here. He's not happy. I think it's with Mitzi Batshuayi. I think he caught the centre half, Webster, I think.
He put a big arm in the middle of his back as he cut across him on a run. Now, if you look at Lewis Dunk, we're lucky we get a replay monitor, and he just thinks I think Lewis Dunk at 6'63" made a little bit more than he needed to.
He did, but if you look at Lewis Dunk, he's seen Batshuayi and stepped across his path. So he's looked to obstruct him as well.
Yeah. There we go. Long ball forward. Mitchell and Lamptey go side to side on the far side. It's going to be a throw to Brighton, about level with the 18-yard box of Crystal Palace. They can't score goals though, Palace, so can they? Really, that seems their biggest problem.
I think Zaha's their lead scorer with 3. No one else scores, and it's not enough for them if they want to be successful.
Riedewald clears from inside his own penalty area up towards the halfway line. No Palace shirt up there. Easy this time for Dan Byrne to bring it down. Playing more of the left side of the 3 into Bissouma. Bissouma square and out on the far side to Webster. Webster about 4 or 5 yards inside the Palace half. Checks back, and again the slow movement of the football allowing Palace to get themselves solidly back in shape as Byrne clips it down, looking for the run of Trossard, a player that I really admire. I think he's got a lot in his locker, but he has to be used, doesn't he?
I agree, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. And you hit the nail on the head there, Andrew, when you said, the ball's moving so slowly that it's allowing Crystal Palace to take up very, very solid starting positions defensively. Now, in order to break that down, the passing has to be 1 and 2 touch very quickly alongside and aligned to good movement. And you saw there they've just tried to knock a long ball in, which is easier to defend. So when it's in transition, when the ball changes hands, is when the first 2 or 3 passes have to be quick to exploit the space.
And that's why you're here, because that tells us so much about, I do get frustrated when I watch football matches with the ball going side to side. You're right, they've got to move it. It hasn't got to be a big bang, it's just got to be moved with some purpose. And March breaks down the Palace right-hand side, I should say, up to the edge of the 18-yard box. Little layoff now to Trossard. Trossard faced by Townsend. Townsend blocks it the first tackle, but March picks up the loose one, gives it to Trossard into the box, down towards the dead ball line, clips it back, misses everybody. Lamptey comes in at the back, and it was Lamptey and not a Lamptey. He was running okay, free of movement, I would say there. But a good break there by Brighton.
It was. Lamptey's got to take that first time. Very difficult to do. I thought Trossard took a touch too much. The minute he does that, the window of opportunities closes, so it's got to be more accurate then. Should have probably done it first time. But it shows both teams are looking to go and win the game. That's better. 1 and 2 touch passing.
Square across the edge of the box. Ward clears, but it's given away again now to Trossard. Trossard stands on the board and allows Milivojevic to come away with the ball. The Dutchman comes away trying to slip it through the eye of a needle, and it opened lovely. And it was Zaha bearing down on Webster. Cuts back, but White doubles up, and so does Lallana to come and get the ball away. This ball is still inside the Brighton half, and Lallana's done very well to keep it in on that Brighton right touchline. But in the end, Crystal Palace have managed to get a foot in. Mitchell plays it square to Gary Cahill, back after injury, and he plays a straight ball forward there to Milivojevic. This would absolutely be, well, it's 37 miles between Brighton and Crystal Palace. It's the M23 derby. It's born out of, rooted, I should say, back in the 70s when Terry Venables and Alan Mullery were around. And you, as a Palace player, will know how much this means to both sets of players.
Let me tell you, I've done some work at Brighton, and I've played for Palace, and they hate each other with a passion. And I used to sit there and think, yeah, okay, all right. But speak to Palace fans.
Yeah.
They'll tell you they hate Brighton with a passion. They really do, and vice versa.
Amazing, isn't it? Footballing derbies. It doesn't matter. Chelsea only 8 miles down the road. Millwall 6 from Crystal Palace. But when it comes down to it, do not mention the B word to a Palace fan.
It's the truth. It's really weird. I never used to get the North London stuff when I used to speak to my mates who were Spurs fans and Arsenal fans, and I talked to them, and there was like a bad smell came in the room, and like I couldn't quite get it. But having been part of something, I see fans, it's almost like they're born into it as well. They must hate Palace fans. They must hate Brighton fans. It's part of the mandate, as their children. This is what you've got to know, okay? We play in red and blue. We hate Brighton.
Yeah, that's it. And vice versa, Brighton will say the same. Yes. Well, let me just say, we've got a Bernard Prepe-Ponsu in. Bernard Prep 5. He thinks that Maupay will score today. Good afternoon to you, or good day to you, wherever you are in the world. It's Brighton on the attack on this near side. March throws it into Bissouma, gets it back. This is about 24 yards away from the dead ball line of Palace. Square infield. White out to Tariq Lamptey now on the right. He's going to bear down on Tyreek Mitchell. Goes down. He's going to take him on. He goes outside him, gets to the dead ball line, crosses in, blocked on the cross. First corner of the game. And I always think set pieces tell you an awful lot about the who's got the upper hand, and Gary Cahill being back in the back four for Crystal Palace should give them a little bit more strength, I think.
Hugely important, but I'm loving that battle already between Mitchell and Lamptey.
Yeah.
Two quick, really prodigious young talents. Really looking forward to that. Mitchell's a very good defender. Lamptey's really good going forward. Who's going to have the balance of power there? Because that could make a difference in the game.
So Brighton have got some high, and there's Kouyate and Dan Burn, handbags and glad rags. They are having pushy shovey, as we call it, from the terraces between the two. But Dan Burn is there's some big players there for Brighton and Hove Albion. Webster, Burn and Dunk above Kouyate, Cahill and Ward, that's for sure. This could be interesting, although they're both being called out now by our referee today, Stuart Atwell, to have a little chat, telling them to calm down. But, that's what you want to see, though, from your teammates, isn't it?
Well, bits of it, yeah. I mean, I don't like all of this pushing and shoving. Look, they're at it again.
Yep.
And there is no need for it. Now, because what happens now is players don't have to defend. All he's going to do, Kouyate, he's not going to look at the ball. He's just going to stop Dan Burn, which is not defending.
Yeah, absolutely. Ball's going to be swung in from Guaita's left-hand side. Goal away to my left. It's hung high. Guaita's got a big paw on it. Comes out. Fired back in by Bissouma into the side netting. Always started wide. Didn't fade back in. But again, you saw in the very first set piece of the game that Palace are going to have a little bit of an aerial onslaught if they give the ball away in their half.
Yeah, I could see 3 Brighton players unmarked in the box as the ball came in, because they are so obsessed with sitting around the goalkeeper. There's a crowd sitting around the goalkeeper, blocking the goalkeeper, and it's a difficult thing. The ref is going to have to be tough, and he's going to have to make decisions, and for and against the attacking and defending side, he's going to have to make decisions. And I can see a penalty coming from something like that if set pieces are prevalent in either box.
Alright, you can follow us if you want and are listening. Give us a shout at TalkSport Live. You're listening to Premier League Live. You can also contact me directly at Selfie86, SELFY86, and of course P. Mort, the man that knows more about football than I'll ever know. Top man he was, played all those games. I remember seeing you play, actually. I do. I went on to Transfer Market earlier on to see if you still had a transfer fee, even though you're getting on in a few years, but luckily it's got retired on it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
Somebody might have snapped you up, you know.
Oh, no. Let's focus on these young lads who are playing now. They've got far more going on for them than I have.
Tariq Lamptey and Mitchell, that is a mouth-watering prospect, as highlighted there by Paul Mortimer. And at the moment, it's the attacking prowess of Lamptey against the defensive prowess of Mitchell on that far side. Will that change? Will they put each other back?
Well, that'd be interesting. I mean, the thing that you pointed out early on is happening at the moment. Brighton are moving the ball far too slowly.
Yeah.
Although that's a great ball into Maupay's feet, and you hope that once it goes into Maupay's feet, that's where the activity and energy level kicks on a little bit, and they move it sharper.
Solly March trying to get to the dead ball line, fires it in, near post cleared by Kouyate, brought down by Townsend, tied against the touchline, knocks it up to the halfway line. Brighton return the ball, Burn inside now to Bissouma, 30 yards away from the goal of Guaita. Guaita's come a long way and catches high above the head of Tariq Lamptey, and fell in doing so. Interesting with that ball, just as you were telling us about the speed of movement, the ball into Maupay, you said quite rightly, was a great ball in, but the 2 players that needed to bomb on beyond, which was Alana and Trossard, were too far in front of him. Exactly. Ball comes forward again here, chance for a shot from Ben White, who's got into the penalty area for Brighton. A bit of a sort of centre-back shot in the end. He sort of dragged his foot across it, but still a good opportunity.
Well, this comes from this desire to play out the back, and it works for some people. For your Man City's and Liverpool, yeah, but for Palace, you don't need to, because all you are doing is inviting pressure, and Ben White really should hit the target.
Yeah.
He really is under no pressure. He should, but as you said, centre-half shot.
You've been in and around managerial teams, and you know, a few years ago, everybody was saying, look at Spain, international, they won the World Cup, they won the Europeans, let's play tiki-taka football. You know, surely managers are strong enough in character to turn around and say, look, my side can't play tiki-taka football, this is the way they have to play. Instead of just adopting, as you say, everybody wanting to play out from the back. If your side's not built for that, surely managers are acute enough to say, this is how we play.
Well, systems and tactics are about personnel. If you don't have the personnel who are confident to pass the ball out of the back, you are going to invite pressure all the time, especially the way we do it now. Keeper gets the ball on the 6-yard box. There's a chance.
That was a great ball from Trossard, just a little bit in favour of the right-sided player, Joel Ward, to get it back to Guaita.
That's a foul.
Dan Burn, Andros Townsend just waiting for it, and as I've often said, you know, in fairness, there was a push in the back there, but I do believe Premier League players got a little button on their back.
Of course they go down too easy. What I was saying, you know, keeper gets the ball in a 6-yard box and passes it, because the law's changed now. The ball doesn't have to go outside the penalty area. All the attacking, the defending side is set. The team on the ball pass it, and the minute they pass it short, it invites pressure. Sometimes you've got to knock the ball up the pitch, win the knockdowns, and go and play your football 50 yards up the pitch.
There we are. Guaita's got it back. He's going to drill it out right hand side, but it's easy for March to chest back into his own half. Got time to turn, no pressure on him. He can look up and try and pick a pass, but unfortunately for him, there's nobody in front, so he goes square to Burn. Burn goes square across the field of play to Webster. Webster now over the halfway line, being slightly manhandled by Wilfred Zaha. Gets out to Tariq Lamptey, midway inside the Palace half. White football in towards Maupay. Maupay gets his body across Kouyate, and he's helped out there in the middle of the park by James McArthur. And you would say that Brighton maybe, although not with real purpose, are playing the better football. It seems to be a little bit more reactive from Crystal Palace at the moment.
Yeah, Palace are playing like an away side at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's sort of long ball and counter-attacky type stuff, because they're not stringing enough positive passes together, are they, really, before they knock that long ball. And if you look at Brighton, at some point they've got to shift the gears in their passing. It's a bit too slow, but they are the better team with the better idea at the moment.
Break coming forward with McArthur. McArthur up to the halfway line. Short pass to his right to Townsend inside the centre circle on the Brighton side. Spreads it out to Joel Ward. Joel Ward now 35 yards from the goal of Brighton. Little layoff to Townsend. Townsend turns to face Byrne. Takes on Byrne down the outside. Clips a decent ball in. It's a deep one as well. Mitsi Batshuayi goes down and it's a penalty kick.
Wow, he's given a pen.
Stuart Atwell seen... It looked like a coming together for me. I've only seen it at normal time, but Michi Batshuayi's gone down, and Stuart Atwell was very quick to point to the spot.
He did. I wonder if VAR are going to have a look at this. They normally get involved, or... I don't know. It's a soft one.
It is a soft one.
Lamptey, isn't it?
Lamptey's diminutive compared. He's got his arm on his shoulder, and in fairness, it's a silly arm on the shoulder, isn't it? It's given the referee every opportunity to see it.
Yeah, it's a very, very soft one, I've got to say. I don't know if VAR are going to have a look. I don't know if they do it when the ref makes his decision, but it doesn't seem to be happening. But it's a soft penalty, isn't it, really? You see
the hand on the shoulder. Before you know it, you end up with the referee seeing it. Down they go. I think there was one only last week. The other, one player in the midweek maybe in a penalty. Somebody just touched the shoulder. Over they went and screamed so loud it was quite unbelievable. Wilfried Zaha then goal away to my right. Can he put Palace one up in the M23 derby? Standing between him is the Australian Matt Ryan. He looks like a tangerine Longfellow, going from side to side, patrolling his goal line, delaying tactics.
Wasting time.
Yeah.
If I'm the ref, I'll just say, look, I don't care if you're ready, I'll blow the whistle, off you go. I'm not waiting for you. The minute I get to the spot, so if I'm the ref now, I'm blowing the whistle. I don't care if the keeper's ready or not.
Finally, Stuart Atwell looks up, tells everybody to stop encroaching. It's Zaha, right-footed against Ryan, sends him the wrong way. It's 1-0. Wilfried Zaha up to 5 goals for the season, or 5 goals in this calendar year, I think, for Crystal Palace at home, has made the difference in a penalty that's slightly soft and in a time in the game when they weren't really on top of the possession or the stats.
No, it's a measured penalty, isn't it? He's a big game player. He lived for these sort of occasions and these situations, but you have to say, if you're Brighton, if you're Graham Potter, you'd be disappointed, because Lamptey, I'm not sure, he's got his hand on his shoulder, he does give him a little tug without a doubt, but when you do that, you give the ref a decision to make. That's the thing. He's pulled him back. They're moving backwards anyway.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, he's not really going to get the ball. I don't know, it's a very strange one. Soft is probably
Jordan
the best.
Henderson, that was who it was that went down with an awful big cry for England.
Yes.
Very
squeal.
A squeal. You've got to use every trick in the book, it seems, nowadays. But I've just got to say, Paul, in from Carol, 737041113. Thanks for the great commentary, Selfie 86 Paul Morts. I'm listening while baking sausage rolls, and they look amazing. If you can get them down to us, I'd love one. And also Victor Oko John as well. Love listening to your commentary every weekend. Keep it up. That's Victor from Abuja in Nigeria. Bissouma Square out on the far side, looking for Lamptey. That will escape. There's plenty of sausage rolls there, Paul.
Yes, there have to be vegetarian ones for me, I'm afraid.
Well, actually, I'm a diabetic, so I can't eat anything with that. So I just salivate over the pictures, if that makes sense.
That'll have to do.
Yeah, remembering once when I could eat, when I had a Greg's credit card, you know what I mean? Not anymore. There are other places that do sausage rolls and vegan sausage rolls, and there we go. Back to the football. 1-0 Crystal Palace. Penalty for Wilfried Zaha that put the Eagles in front of the Seagulls here at Selhurst Park. You're listening to Premier League Live. Lifted high towards the halfway line, and it's back to Batshuayi, who got that terrible pull on his shoulder. I think he found the button. I think there's a button in Premier League strikers and Premier League players that when you touch it, all the bones go out of your body and you fall to the ground. I'm looking at it again on a replay monitor. Again, he's given him the opportunity, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, you put your hand on his shoulder when he's moving backwards, and he's got one hand, on his right shoulder, the other one under his left armpit, and he's pulling him. He's moving back as well, so He may not have touched him much, but it does look like he's pulling him back. And of course, Batshuayi's gone, thank you very much.
Yep.
I'll fall over, this will be a penalty, and I'll squeal a little bit, and this will be a penalty. And that's what happened.
That's what we got. Anyway, Stuart Atwell I must admit, the backroom staff now of most sides that I'm looking in the seats beyond the technical areas are getting larger and larger.
Well, there's no space for the subs ordinarily. It's the truth. I mean, it's just there are so many, and often when you go to the games and you watch the warming up, you know, like we have, you see how much staff there is. Honestly, there's a squad of staff. I bet they got their own dressing room. They got their own kit.
What makes me laugh is they make them sort of change in different areas of the ground and coming from different places, and then let them play for 90 minutes together, running on a pitch that's more than likely had other body fluids.
Yeah, don't get me started.
You know what I mean? I struggle a bit with that sometimes.
Well, I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
I'm not going to moan because I love having football back. Anyway, it's Palace with the ball. He had a read about. Plays it to Schlupp. Schlupp breaks forward into the Brighton half. He's got 2 for company. He's got 5 Brighton defenders with him, and in the end, Webster's gone in with a rather unfortunate challenge in my thoughts. But Stuart Atwell has decided nothing happened.
Well, it's not a foul. If you look at Schlupp, he has overrun the ball. 3-4, touch too long, and he may be obstructed. Yeah, I would say it's obstruction for Bissouma. I would say, but he has overrun the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would say it's obstruction, not necessarily a physical foul in terms of kicking him down or anything, but definite obstruction.
He tried to go through 5 Brighton yellow shirts there. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 0. Penalty for Wilfred Zaha. And it's with Byrne on the halfway line. Plays it out to Solly March, playing on this left-hand side. Back to Byrne on the halfway line. Infield to Bissouma. Bissouma back now to Dunk. And yet again, as we said, this is manna for heaven if you're just playing football in front of the side that's 1 goal up. And that seems to be what Brighton are doing now. Schlupp will close down Webster, who's still inside his own half, and has to go all the way back to Matt Ryan in the goal away to my right-hand side here at Selhurst Park. But again, side from Dunk to Byrne. Byrne makes a forward pass to Solly March, who is an outlet, but again, he needs something in front of him to move on to. He's checked by Andros Townsend and goes back towards the halfway line. And now it's back with Lewis Dunk. Roy Hodgson's side will be well managed in this now. They've got the ball, play in front of us. That'll be as good as goal, won't it?
Well, there's not enough movement, and that's the biggest problem. We saw the ball come to Solly March just inside the Palace half. As he opens up, he's looking forward, and there is nothing to hit. There's no one. Yes, Palace are in good positions, but it's because everything is too slow. You see where they are now? Palace won't go and shut the ball down. They'll just shuffle across the pitch, and the gaps are closed, and it's very difficult. So they're hitting long balls, and they're having to hit long balls in behind, because it's not just Palace, you know, defending well. The Brighton players ahead of Dan Byrne are not moving. There's not enough movement, not enough desire to, you know, come into feet, spinning behind and come to feet, move laterally, find that gap. Because when you find a gap, when you move, you're taking someone with you.
Yeah.
That finds a gap for someone else. Or you've got to go and play to someone who's marked, and give them the ball, and give them, you know, Lallana, give it to him while he's marked. He's got the confidence to twist and turn, suck a few players into him, and then find the spare player. But they're not doing any of that, Brian.
No, Guaita goes long, a few more shouts coming in, I'll give those in just a moment. Big header away there by White, halfway line. McArthur gets the ball down and goes all the way back to Guaita. Coach J. Harris listening to you on my morning walk in beautiful Colorado, USA. Go Palace, that's nice one. Neymar Butlins, it's early here in LA, walking the dogs in the dark. Delighted for Zaha. He is in my Premier League fantasy side as Zaha squares the ball to Joel Ward. Ward down the line to Townsend. Townsend up to the length of the 18-yard box, clips it in, flicks off the foot of Solly March, headed away by Bissouma, should be picked up by Yaro Riedewald. Trossard tries to put him under pressure.
See, they're the things that get me. When it comes to Bissouma, he's got no one around him. Take a touch.
Yeah.
Take a touch, bring it down. But you head it away because, number one, there isn't a shout. Number two, you're not aware or possibly confident enough to bring the ball down. That's where you've got to do it. You've got to bring it down and start play again.
Now, you've done a lot of coaching, Paul. You've run a lot of teams as well.